As we get into paragraph 6C of the 1 to 4 family contract, we probably first need to talk about what is a survey. So a survey is this form right here. This is a survey that we did recently on 409 Beverly. This has the seal on it. So this is the seal with Peter Aguirre. He's the registered state of Texas land surveyor. A survey has a stamp on it. A plat will not have a stamp on it. Make sure that we know the difference because sometimes sellers might think they have a survey, but they have a plat instead. So look for the seal. The date for the field work here is November 26, 2025. That's when this was done. Okay. And what is this going to have? Well, the survey is going to be this. Okay. The survey tells us the footprint of the land. So it's telling us the boundaries of the land. In this case, all of this black are the boundaries of the land. And the survey tells us where the buildings sit on the land, where the decking is, where the driveways are. All of this is on the land. So this is the boundaries of the land. This is not the building. Okay. In this case, this is a residential lot sitting next to lot 26 and lot 24. This is lot 25, block 8 of the of this property. Okay. This is Beverly Street right here is what this shows. Okay. Now, some other things to look at here. When I'm looking at this property, I want to know, are there any encroachments? And on this survey, there are two different encroachments that we can see. These diamonds are the fence line, and this black is the property line. As you can see here, this fence comes in onto this property 1 foot, 1.6 feet, right? Which is almost 1.5 feet. Okay. It's that way almost all the way back to the back. It's 1 foot 4 inches in over here. Now, this fence, when we look at the property, has been here since the house was built. So it's always been like that, but it's still off. The buyer needs to be aware of that, and the buyer either has to accept it or ask the seller to move the fence over 1.6 feet. Okay. Over here, their fence goes into the encroaches on the neighbor's property by 1.1 feet. It's good up here, but back here it's not. So that's off. That's called an encroachment. So the buyer can either accept it or not. In this case, the buyer did accept that. The other thing we want to look at here is this is the building setback line. BSL. What that means is this property, you cannot build in front of this line. If you're going to build in front of this line, you would need to get a variance from the municipality. In this case, the city of Schertz would have to say it's okay if you want to build in front of this. And let's say somebody wanted to put a carport and the carport was going to come to here, right? They would need to get approval from the city, which they're going to have to get approval from the city to do the carport anyway. But to violate that building setback line, they would definitely need to get that. Now, there's also building setback lines on the side of 5 feet, and you notice you cannot build across that. This is right on that building setback line of 5 foot. Over here, it's in quite a bit from it. Now back here, there's not a building setback line, but many times on many surveys, you're going to have a building setback line of 5 or 10 or 15 feet for a utility easement running along the back or other things. This might be important, these building setback lines, because let's just say this was the building setback line. It's not, but let's just say this was, and I couldn't build back here, and I wanted to put in a swimming pool. That might be a reason why I may not buy this house, or I would need to object to the survey. Okay, that's not the case here. This actually has an alley. This apparent travelway is an alley. This is where the utility easement is in this case. So in this particular property, there's an alley between the lots. Now, as a side note here, an alley behind your house, you're still responsible for maintaining half of that alley behind your house. If you don't maintain it, the city's going to fine you. Something that a buyer would probably want to know. Okay. So this is the survey. Those are some things that we want to make sure that we're looking for, encroachments or anything like that. If we're going to be using a T47 affidavit, and this is an existing survey, then if we added a wood deck all the way across the back right here, the seller could draw in that wood deck on here, and it would be up to the lender or the seller to accept it or not. I'll explain that further when we get into the contract on the T47 affidavit. All right, so this is what it is. A couple of things again to remember. Make sure it has the seal. Know what the date is. This would have to be turned in to the lender along with the T-47 affidavit, and it would be up to them to approve it or not. Okay.